I mean, it's the same colours, but they are the other way around. Is that enough to differentiate that it's a different year? I mean, we are in an entirely different room. Psh, whew. Sam, you can't keep doing this bit every year. Just make the goddamn opening sting, alright? Hello, and welcome to another year in review video. 2025 has reared its ugly head, and we are officially a quarter of a century since the millennium. And now, with the tone set at an all-time low, the only way is up. Because in honesty, it has not been a good year, either for myself or for the channel as a whole. We'll get into some of that as we go, and some of that we'll just leave in the past. But to start off, I'd like to have a look at the goals that I set myself this time last year, and why I didn't quite get there. This year, we're aiming to hit 750 followers on Twitch. This one's pure fact. We just didn't hit the goal. We had some long periods of no growth, and I had to take a month and a bit off streaming for personal reasons. So it's not really surprising, and I can sit and say that maybe we would have made it if the year had turned out differently, but that doesn't matter, because it didn't. But we did manage to hit 719 followers, which is actually 96% of 750. Which is good enough for a pharmaceutical product being released onto the market. So if paracetamol can do it, then Samalytical can do it. So I'm happy enough to call this a close enough goal. We didn't pass, we didn't fail. We just carried on. I'd also like to make it a goal of mine to start taking my stream and my content more seriously. This one was a bit more successful. In January, I set up to be able to multi-stream to TikTok at the same time as my Twitch streams. I mean, we don't use that functionality anymore, but I did it. Also in January, I finally set up my new microphone after complaining about it in last year's video.
Ever since I've been tormenting my viewers with ASMR voice Sam.
In February, I had an idea for a new sub alert, and within a week, it was up and running and live on the stream. In March, right before we started Sekiro, I thought, hey, why not have an on-screen exercise counter? And within a week, it was on the stream, transition and everything. That was a win. The 700 burpees I had to do, however, not so much. For every stream of Sea of Thieves and Dredge, I was in full costume, really trying to commit to that bit. The bit, of course, being, I'm an idiot. In April, I actually updated my profile picture to not be the same as my LinkedIn profile. In May, I added a button that actually switched me between Soulsborne mode and normal streams, so that I didn't spend 20 minutes doing it manually all the time, which I had been for 3 years. At the same time, I also added a little notification onto my stream deck so that my mods could contact me during stream without having to, I don't know, shout at me in chat. Well, shout at me in chat about important things. They shout at me in chat all the time. Right before we started Ocarina of Time in June, I thought it'd be great to have something on the screen to track our progress, and was dismayed to find that nothing seemed to exist like that. So in a night, I put together the whole thing myself, and I honestly have to say, I'm immensely proud of how it came out. At the end of July, we added a schedule command so that people could actually know what my schedule was without me having to try and remember it. When I noticed the Ko-fi alert was broken, I fixed it within 24 hours before it was able to affect the stream. In August, we launched the streamer survey, and ever since I've been trying to make changes based on what you guys came back to me with. And not only that, I've been taking the mods on board to help me with this, rather than just doing it all myself. And honestly, if you know me, that is the biggest achievement I've done this year. And finally, after Sekiro started to drag on too long and we hit a wall, I just called quits. We had one last try, we didn't finish the game on stream, and I'm okay with that. I mean, I still finished it, but... The next goal is a compound one. The overarching theme is doing the things that I keep procrastinating. Do a whittling stream. To do a charity stream. And to make one of those videos that I keep putting off. This one's a tough one because there's just no way I can talk around it. I did not complete any of those 3 things. I did not complete this goal. The whittling stream should have been a sure thing. It was planned in for right at the start of 2024. But then I made some decisions based on analytical data from Twitch and bumped it for something else that looked to be having a boom. And honestly, it didn't quite pan out. The scripted videos continue to be something that eludes me. I don't know what it is, but I just don't seem to ever get started on them. I really hope that'll change in 2025. I've been at this long enough. And honestly, some of them are in danger of becoming just completely irrelevant at this point. The charity streams is the biggest failure in my own mind because I put a lot of thought into them. I came up with stuff for them. I planned for them. I just never did them. And that's not just a letdown to me or my community. That is, as I said last year, a letdown to those charities. There is no bright side to this one, unfortunately. It's a failed goal. Lessons learned 2025. Please. Final goal may seem counterintuitive as a goal for my content creation, but I want to take more breaks. This one was a tough one because in hindsight, I couldn't think of a single break I'd taken purely for myself. Sure, I'd taken time off to go see friends, I'd taken time off to do things, I took some time off to get some sick tats, bro. But did I ever actually take time off as a break? That's a hard one to answer. But while not exactly to the letter of what I originally said, I think I adhered to the spirit of this in June, when, as previously mentioned, I had to take an extended break for personal reasons. I'd only intended to be off for maybe a week or 2 weeks, and I'd get to the end of the week and I'd be like, okay, I should stream again next week. And I just wouldn't feel up to it, and I made the decision not to. And I know there's a Sam in the past who wouldn't have done that. There's a Sam who would have rushed his way back, probably come back far too soon, and he and his content would have suffered because of it. So I think I achieved the spirit of what 2023 Sam, with his fresh face and annoying positivity, was looking for. Seriously, fuck that guy. He made so many stupid decisions I've had to put up with. But that's not all that happened this year. So let's revisit some of the things that weren't goals I set out to do, but are achievements nevertheless. This year, I continued to be able to pluck up the courage sometimes to raid into some big streamers and get some big shoutouts. During my streamiversary, I somehow hit a level 6 golden kappa? I'm sorry, I saw this and I'd forgotten this happened. How the fuck? And speaking of my streamiversary, the turnout for that was fantastic. We streamed for 10 hours, played a bunch of games, had so much fun with the community, and it really hit me in a good place and reminded me why I started doing this. Also during the streamiversary, the community hit 69 subs. Nice. We put in another game to the Samalytical Soulsborne rankings in a position that will probably upset quite a few. But given my experience with the game, I thought it was a fair review. And if you'd like to see my actual review at the time, well, here it is. Right at the end of September, my community decided to be absolute lovely people, and we hit a level 9 hype train. Off the top of that, we managed to actually breach 100 subs on the channel, with 127 being the new record, up from 88. And I also made a rather unwise promise. If I hit 1,000 subs, okay, if I hit 1,000 subs, I will set up some form of a giveaway or some form of like form where you can put your details in, and if you put your details in and you're on the list of subs, I will send you a photo of my face signed. But before we pivot to looking forward, let's tie off 2024 by looking at all of the media that I consumed this year. And for those that are new here, and just a reminder for those that aren't, this is the media that I personally consumed this year, not necessarily the media that was produced this year. Movies up first, and this year the list is even longer than last. So much so that I'm potentially going to have to split it in two to fit it all on the screen right now. This is likely a symptom of the fact that in 2024, myself and my wife started having movie nights where we would pick a movie off our shared list and watch it. And then when that was finished, the other person would pick another movie. And then when that was finished, and if we still didn't want to go to bed, we'd pick a third movie. We never quite made it to 4 movies. Maybe in 2025 we'll make it to 4 movies. But when it comes to my movie of the year, I had to put some thought into this, because I've watched some big blockbusters this year. I've watched some films that have had a lot of money spent on graphics. I've watched some really well written films. I've also watched Madam Web. But the film that gets my #1 spot this year is, say it with me now, Demper, Hundreds of Beavers. If you've not seen Hundreds of Beavers, you may be very confused right now. But it is genuinely a film that I got about 10 minutes into and went, ha, this is quite funny. How much longer has it got left? And the answer was 2 hours. And I thought, how on earth are they going to extend this premise for 2 hours? But my fucking god, they did it. It's well worth a watch if you can get your hands on it. I guarantee you will not regret it. And if you do, just come yell at me in the comments. Some people on YouTube seem to think that that does something, so who knows? TV up next, and I honestly didn't think I'd watch much this year, but when I started compiling the list with this and the anime list that's coming up later, that turned out to be a lie. Last year I said this: you will not watch the next Doctor Strange movie until you've watched WandaVision. And as you can see from the previous list, I did watch Multiverse of Madness, and that's because I also finally got around to WandaVision. It's the only Marvel TV show I've managed to watch so far, but I'm really looking forward to watching the rest, so hey, maybe they'll be there next year. I'm aware there's a third series of What If out at the moment. I haven't got around to it as of recording this video, so it'll probably be on next year's. But the real question here is, which one of these have I chosen as my favourite TV series I've watched this year? And the answer to that may surprise anyone who saw my Spotify Wrapped, because the answer is not actually Has Been Hotel or Hell of a Boss. It's Black Mirror. I'd heard good things about Black Mirror for a while, but never actually got around to watching it, and so this year I binged the whole thing, all 6 seasons, and I've got to say it lived up to the hype. It's obviously got its highs and lows, and I'm sure everyone can argue about what their least favourite episode is and how far it's gone away from its original premise, but it's just fun, it's just interesting, and yeah, if the next season does come out, I'm going to be watching it. Anime next, and it's an equally populated list. Looking at this, I watched quite a few of these with my wife. In fact, most of these I watched with my wife. In fact, actually, now that I look at it, all but one I watched with my wife. God damn it, my wife is going to get all of the credit for this in the Discord. And that said, the only one I didn't watch with my wife, Junji Ito's Maniac, is probably my least favourite. It had some promise, but it just really didn't get to the places I was expecting it to, which is a shame given how well regarded the source material is. So I believe they're making a new one. Hopefully that'll be better. Those that are remaining, it's a really hard choice to pick a favourite. They're all really well done and really solid stories, and I would recommend any of them to you if you haven't watched them yet. But the one I'm going to give it to this year, and this could well be down to recency bias as it's the most recent one I've watched, is The Apothecary Diaries. I'd heard from my wife how good this was, and this was her third watching it with me. But do you know what? It lived up to the hype. The Adventures of Mao Mao and Stress Jinshi just entertained me in a way I wasn't expecting. It's such a lovely story with such a great sense of humour, and absolutely, I cannot wait to watch the next season that's coming up in 3 days as of recording. Games up next, and as always, this is split between games that I streamed and games that I played in my personal time. Personal time up first, for reasons that will become apparent very shortly, because when I went through the list and checked, I'd apparently only played one game. And I thought that can't be right, so I looked through it again. And I asked my wife, and I went through my backlog, and I realised, no, it's true, the only thing I played this year was Baldur's Gate 3. I have started Jedi Survivor in the last month, but as I've not completed it, it's not going to make it onto the list this year, so look for that next year. So yeah, it feels like a bit of a hollow win for Baldur's Gate, especially when it was such a good game. I said last year, after giving Divinity 2 Game of the Year, that potentially Larian would do it again. So yeah, kind of a default win for Baldur's Gate 3, but I think it would have got it anyway. Me and my wife played through that in co-op, absolutely adored it, and I full on plan to go in and play the most broken, evil character ever for my solo run. Oh, I wonder if Baldur's Gate 3 can win 2 years in a row. That's never happened before. I mean, it's technically possible. Ooh. Stream games now, and my lord, there is a lot on this list. A lot of very good games here, though, and not any that I'd really say I didn't enjoy. I do have to pick a favourite, though, and that favourite is probably going to have to go to Outer Wilds. We played this as part of Friday First, but if I'm honest, I was already kind of anticipating it might roll over into the normal rotation. We still have the DLC to do, which, spoiler alert, is coming up in 2025, so hey, maybe another game can make it 2 years in a row. Oh god, imagine if it was 2 games 2 years in a row. Everyone would just think I was really lazy. I mean, they're right. Oh, an honourable mention, I read a book. Just the one book. But I read it. But let's move on to 2025 now, and the goals I'm going to set myself for this coming year. I didn't really manage to meet many of my goals from last year. I don't know if you noticed, I think I was very subtle about it in my breakdown. But the fact is, a lot of that is down to circumstance, and I accept that, no matter how upset I might be about it. So in 2025, as well as setting myself some new goals, I'm going to re-up on some of the previous goals as well. First up, we have the ever-present arbitrary number of followers on Twitch goal, and this year, we're going for 1,000 followers. The reasons behind this are twofold. Number one, my wife isn't here to temper me with logic, so I've picked a nice big number that makes my brain go buzz. And number two, I really don't treat this goal seriously anymore. Not the way I used to. At the level I am now on Twitch, the number of followers I have hasn't really been an indicator of my success in a long time. There are much more important metrics, but it's just nice to have number go up sometimes. So here's to number go up in 2025. The second goal I've got, I'm going to title Handle Your Business. Now, what do I mean by this? I mean the things that I failed to get done last year that hit me the hardest, namely the charity stream and the whittling stream. Now, you might wonder why I've picked these ones, and it's mainly because both of those are based around promises that I made and promises that I haven't fulfilled yet. And so in 2025, I want to fulfill those promises. Both of these goals had a lot of the groundwork laid during 2024, but the final step of actually getting across the threshold and implementing them didn't get taken. And so hopefully in 2025, this is going to be an easy one for me. It better bloody be. Otherwise, I'm going to invent time travel and travel back in time and slap myself in the back of the head right now. Next is something I've sort of been aiming to do in the background for the entirety of my time streaming, but I've never really made it a full goal. And that is to try and utilise my YouTube channel a bit more. If you don't follow me, we have Samalytical and Samalytical VODs. Links are, well, I mean, you're on one of them right now. So, yeah. And I'm not just talking about the scripted content that has been a bugbear of mine for the past 2 years. We also have quite a sizable backlog of the What You Missed series of videos, where I throw together some clips with some humorous editing. Well, I think it's humorous at the very least. But most of all, I'd just like to put out stuff on there that I enjoy, have a play around. I really enjoy the editing process and being able to express myself through that. So I'd just like to do it more because it's something that genuinely makes me happy, and hopefully it can create some decent content for everyone else. The final goal for 2025 is something that's been sorely needed for a while, and it is to finally upgrade the stream. I think this is best illustrated by a dramatic reenactment of what happened when I went back to double check exactly when the last stream upgrade was. Okay, I think it was around 2023. It was the PC Builder stream. So let's just have a look on YouTube, and 2022? We are well overdue some TLC on this channel. The setup has not changed in 2.5 years, it transpires. And on top of that, the channel trailer is now laughably out of date. So much so that I don't even think it's a good trailer for the channel anymore. How can I do a good job of putting the channel out there and trying to promote myself if people are looking 2.5 years into the past, like they're using some kind of Twitch-based Hubble telescope? And finally, something new, the meme goal of 2025, where I pick a meme for the channel that I'm not actually serious about at all, but hey, we're all going to pretend we are. So this year, I would like to try and beat the Twitch Hype Train world record. It currently stands at 55% of the way through level 111, which is actually level 110 plus 55% of the way to level 111, because Twitch is confusing as fuck. So remortgage your houses in 2025, everyone, because we're going to need all the subs and bits we can if we're going to hope to beat this one, Aglets. I both love and hate that Aglets is probably now the official community name. It's Twitch sanctioned. This is, of course, all on top of hashtag SamForPartner 2025, because that one's not a meme. That's real. Get it trending. I actually kind of would love to push towards Twitch Partner, but I can't be serious about it at all because I'm really bad at asking for things. So there we have it. The review of 2024 and look forward to 2025 is complete. Thank you for everything this community has done for me in the last year. It really has meant a lot. And I'm really looking forward to spending a 2025 with you, where hopefully we can build even more great memories. And this time next year, I can look back on them and just completely ignore all of my achievements as per usual. I mean, I've got to generate conversation in the Discord somehow, and, you know, rage sells. It's that or sex, and the only Sams is just a meme at this point. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, follow me on all the social medias, all that stuff that I'm really bad at saying, but really does help. I still don't know how to end a YouTube video, but hey, if I achieve at least one of my goals in the coming year, perhaps I won't have this same problem in the 2026 video. All that's left is for me and Alfred to wish you a very happy 2025. Take care, and I will see you in the coming year. Not been the best year, either for me or for the brand as a whole. The brand? It's not been a good year for the brand. You know, it's not been a good year for the brand.